Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the ABM All By Myself podcast. However, I do have two extremely rambunctious dogs next to me in the same room that decided that right now is the perfect time to take all of their toys out of their box and just scrummage with them all over the place. So if you hear a little bit of tussling in the background, go, "Aw," because that's one of my cute little dogs. You can actually see them on a shirt in one of the thumbnails. Comment below, what episode was that where the thumbnail had my dogs in the shirt? And as always, make sure to also like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with all of your friends. Sharing is caring. And ring that notification bell, ding dong, to make sure that you get notified every day when these episodes do go live. And you heard that right, these are daily. So in today's episode, I've been having a lot of fun talking about childhood stories and reminiscing, and I wanted to start a little bit of a series and talk about school experiences and school stories. So my school history, just to break it down for you, I went to kindergarten through first grade at public school. It was called Cleveland Elementary in Lakewood, California. From second grade to the very beginning of seventh grade, I went to a Catholic school called St. Maria Goretti. And then I went to a public middle school for seventh and eighth grade called DeMille, which is no longer there. They built some new kind of a establishment on there. I believe it is for learning, but it looks extremely close to a prison. So I did go there before it was prison-like. And then I went to Milliken High School. So, I mean, now you know all that about me, but I want to find, not find, but I want to think of my funnest memories from those different schools and share them with you episodically. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Catholic school I went to. As far as kindergarten through first grade, I don't have the most vivid memories, but I will share a few. I know on my first day in kindergarten, I was a little bit nervous, and I was sitting around hanging out, and I was looking for kind of someone to talk to or someone to latch on to a little bit. You know, I just felt like it would be cool if I was able to make friends right away. So I was able to make a friend. His name is Jordan. And ironically, I actually was at a show a few weekends ago, and his cousin was there. So look at that, small world, right? But his name was Jordan, and we were hanging out, during recess. And then when we went back to class, we sat next to each other. And I do remember that it was like coloring in fire trucks or something like that for the color red. And Jordan and me kept goofing off, and he kept, making me laugh, and I was making him laugh. And the teacher took notice of this because everybody else was quietly coloring and listening to what the teacher was talking about. So we got sent to the back of the room. We had to each sit in a different side, look at the wall in like kind of a timeout like situation. And they did notify our parents to let them know that we were a little bit, on the more excitable side today. And if they could just let us know that school is a place for learning, not for goofing off, unless it's recess. The only other real memory I have of that school is they had a jungle gym, and it was a very clear statement they were making to not swing on the top rope of this jungle gym. It's dangerous. I did not take note of it. I didn't take it serious, I guess you could say. So one day I was swinging on this top of the jungle gym, and I kicked a kid right in the forehead. And I don't remember if it bled or anything, but I remember it feeling like a solid kick, and then it hurt him pretty bad. I don't know if there was crying involved, but there was a loud scream that the teachers were made aware of. They heard it. They came over. I got in a little bit of trouble. They told my parents. And yes, after that, no more swinging on the jungle gym. So those are the only memories. So I guess we could knock out the first school I ever went to. That's about all I remember. But we're going to move on to the Catholic school because I have a few stories that are real fun. And it starts off, I was in second grade, the first year I went there. My teacher's name was Miss Baumgartner. And comment below how you think that's spelled. That's a kind of a unique name. And she was a soccer player, probably in her early 20s. When you're in second grade, everybody feels like they're super old. But I'm sure I am older than she was right now. So she was probably in her early 20s or so. Like I said, a soccer player, super cool, super hip chick. Or, teacher. I shouldn't call a teacher a chick. But super cool lady. And at the end of the year, she offered us the ability to ask her a question. And one of the things about Mrs. Baumgartner that I always took notice of is she had like a perfect nose. And I always equated it to Michael Jackson. At the time, this was before he got a little bit extreme and his nose started just disappearing and eventually It just looked kind of like a horror movie, but it looked like the perfect period of time when Michael Jackson had that nose like dialed in for what he was going for. And I always thought, wow, it's like she has a Michael Jackson nose. And I had known that Michael Jackson got plastic surgery. So at the end of the year, like I said, she was asking us if we had any questions for her. And I raised my hand. She called on me. And I said, Miss Baumgartner, do you have plastic surgery? And then I'm sure she was embarrassed. She wasn't expecting a second grade kid to ask her this. And then she said, well, why are you asking that? And then I let her know that from my perspective, it looked like she had the same nose as Michael Jackson, and I know he has plastic surgery. And she just said, "Oh, that's funny." No, I probably said no. I don't remember her saying yes or no, but I'm sure she said no. But it was a very fun moment as a second grader asking your teacher if they ever had plastic surgery. Hilarious. So moving on, the next story, I was in fourth grade, and at the time, I was just very heavily into fire. Me and my buddy Chris, and this could have been fifth grade, so fourth, fifth-ish grade. Me and my buddy Chris, I've been talking about him every episode. Capiche Clothing, check it out. Pizza Boy Fresh. But me and Chris were super into fire. Every day we would skateboard to school, and then we would all go back to my house and hang out until his mom picked him up. And one of the things that we did is we got an empty can, we filled it with lighter fluid. This was probably very expensive, but we were not buying the lighter fluid. We were just using my parents, so I'm sure they noticed at some point. But we would fill this can with lighter fluid, light a match, and then put it on top of the can. It would engulf in flames, but we never let it get to the point of like what would happen if we didn't touch it. It was scary. Even though we did it every day, we only let it get to a certain point. And then we would cover this can with a large cup to put out the flames. And so that's just a little insight. I was very into fire. I collected like little lighters and stuff like that. I still have a few. And I was into matches. And one of the things I love doing with matches the most, and I don't recommend doing this, especially you'll know why after you hear the story, but you take a match out and then you put it against your finger and where the strike pad is, and you simply flick the match along it like you're, flicking the match off, and the flame will turn on, or the match will catch fire, and for a brief moment in time, it will look like a mini fireball flying through the air. Very fun stuff. And as a kid, it's like one of the most exciting things you can do and feel like you're in a superhero movie or you have some superpowers. You're able to shoot fire. So one day I took the matches to school and I was going to show all my buddies this. I was pretty stoked about this superpower that I had. Sorry about that. I was very excited about this. So that day just happened to be when the library, I don't know if you guys had this as a kid, but the library would have a book fair. And during the book fair, you could go in there and you could buy all these books, probably very overpriced. And Goosebumps was like one thing that stands out to me. I remember I would buy Goosebumps books, not even to read them. I never read one of them front to back, but I would scratch off the lettering and it would turn white. Looking back now, I know obviously I'm just scratching off whatever kind of, over foiling or whatever they were doing on the side of the book. So I was ruining it, but it was cool. It was like, hey, you buy this book, you scratch it, it turns white, and it's fun. So I was probably going to buy Goosebumps book or something that day. That was probably on the agenda. But me and my buddy Eric and maybe Chris, I forgot the third individual, but we were walking to the library, and this was maybe a 30-foot walk. It was the same building that our class was in, so you'd walk out of the classroom, and then you would go to the walkway on the right, and then the very last door in this little building was the library. So we're walking down, and I'm like, hey guys, I got some matches, and I want to show you this super cool trick that I've learned and share it with you guys. So they're like, yeah, this is exciting. I do remember there being a little bit of hesitation on the walk over, and I didn't get the courage to do it until we were right next to the library. So I did it. I flicked the match to show them one time. It went out like right away, and it wasn't very cool. I felt like I owed them something. I owed them more than that. So then I got two matches. I had never done this before. I was venturing into new territories. So, I was taking a little bit of a risk, but I was willing to do that to impress friends. That's what kids do. So I take 2 matches now. I put my finger on there and then I flick it, and there's this huge igniting, fireball going on, and it catches a little bit of wind and it flies directly into the library, and it catches a very small part of the corner of the rug on fire, probably just like the threads that were coming up. So they didn't necessarily stay engulfed, but they created a little bit of smoke and it smelled. And the librarian came over and she saw that, and she saw the matches. We weren't quick enough to the draw to get rid of the evidence. And she said, who's doing this? I ain't going to let my friends go down for some shit that I obviously did. So I told her, oh, it was me. So right away, she tells me to go to the principal's office, where I sit down, and she tells me that this is unacceptable. You have detention today, and I'm going to call your mother to make sure that they also take care of this in the home. So she calls my mom and tells my mom, that her son had brought matches to school, and he lit one near the library, almost lighting the library on fire. And they were very upset with me. They had given me detention, and she would like to know what kind of punishment my mom was going to put on me, because she thought it was important that I was also punished at the house. So when she said that to my mom, this is one of the things that I'll never forget because it was so cool. My mom actually said, well, what should I do? She said, didn't you give him detention? And then the principal said, yeah, well, I did. And then she goes, well, I think that's good enough. I mean, I don't know why he has matches in his school in the first place, but you guys shouldn't just allow him to have matches. I will tell him, though, don't bring matches to school again. Is that good? And then she's like, okay, whatever. I don't remember if it was like a honky-dory goodbye, but then they said goodbye. I had detention that day. And if I remember correct, I think my mom just, told me that was dumb. Don't do it again. And so that was a fun little story. On to the next story. So this story, and if you noticed a little bit of a weird edit or something like that, because I'm recording this, I can't tell just yet, but one of my dogs, his name is Walter. He's the most adorable Boston Terrier you'll ever see in your life, perfectly proportioned. His stance is impeccable, but he drinks water like a fucking camel, and he was drinking some water, and it was so loud that it was deafening me in the headphones, and I thought, there's no way that's not going to be unpleasant. Maybe you like it. Maybe it's an ASMR that you want to hear. Should I just put a microphone in my dog's dish and you guys would like to hear that? I don't know. Leave a comment below. But my next story comes from the 5th grade era of my life. So I was in 5th grade. My teacher's name was Dr. Condon, very similar to Condom. There was jokes being cracked about it all year, but he was a very cool dude. Shout out to you if you're still teaching. You'd be doing it forever now, so you must be real passionate if you still are. But in 5th grade, me and my buddy Chris Wheeler, so this is a different Chris. I knew a lot of Chris's over the course of my life, but me and Chris Wheeler, my good friend, wanted to play football. And Chris's dad was very passionate that Chris become a quarterback. That's what he liked to do, and it was unfair that his son couldn't play at school right now. And the reason for that is there was 2 divisions, one for 5th and 6th graders and another for the 7th and 8th. So consider this like JV and varsity, right? So there wasn't enough kids who wanted to play in 5th and 6th grade. So 7th and 8th was all that was going on. And Chris's dad made a big thing about us being able to play on that team. And they were willing to give us tryouts. So as 5th graders, we went and we tried out for the 7th and 8th grade team. And we were both pretty big kids. I mean, we weren't like half of the size by any means of these 7th and 8th graders. We looked beefy enough, like we should be able to handle this. And in the back of my head, I was thinking, this is flag football. All they do is they try to get a flag off of your waist. So there's not like you're getting sacked like you see on TV in the NFL, or you're getting, fucked up or anything like that. So we go, and all the 7th and 8th graders are looking at us with disdain. Like, who the hell are these kids just wanting to step on this field and play our game? We're going to show them who's boss type look. And I was a little intimidated, not going to lie, but we went forward with it. You got to be about it sometimes, if not every time. So we line up on the field, and we start going down for the play. You kneel down a little bit, and then obviously somebody hikes the ball, and then the play gets going. So me and Chris are on the defense team, meaning our side does not have the ball, the others does. And right when the guy snaps the ball, he hikes it to the quarterback. The kids in front of us just come full speed and just knock us on our asses. I was thrown off completely because I didn't even know there was going to be contact in this sport. So I went back, it hurt really bad, but I was like, fuck, I don't think I want to do this. And then I looked over at Chris, and he had fallen back straight onto his arm and broken his arm to the point where I almost threw up when I saw it. It was disgusting. You could see bone and everything. So, yeah. So we actually did not end up playing that year. I'm sure you were in suspense of where is that going to go within that season. Chris was out completely. I realized that I don't want to be on a team, especially if I'm the only fifth grader, and we'll just do this next year. So leading into the next year, so we were in sixth grade, and at this point there was enough fifth and sixth graders that we could have a team. Chris's dad actually, he volunteered to be the assistant coach, so that was really cool to have him on our team. And then we had a younger dude that was the main coach. Forget the guy's name, but he was rad as well. So we played, I was the center, which was the guy that hiked the football, and then Chris was the quarterback. And I was not the most athletic ever in my life necessarily, but, just hiking a football and making sure someone doesn't get past me is easy enough. So that was the position that I played, and it was cool because I was able to hike it to my buddy and, have all that teamwork, so forth and so on. So one of the plays that we devised, because no one ever suspected that this fat red-headed kid had any physical prowess or would be able to make a move on the field, so we devised the Yahoo. And it's obviously a word play off of my last name, Yah. And the Yahoo, like the chocolate milk, or actually I think it's just chocolate and water, but the Yahoo chocolate drink. So I would hike the ball, and then if Chris realized that he had nobody open, he would just sometimes yell, Yahoo! I would just take off as fast as I could while I was looking back, and he would throw me the ball. I hate to admit this, but I don't remember catching it very many times. In the one particular that I remember, I think we were in a position to possibly maybe win a game, and it was one of the last plays, and Chris called early on the Yahoo. This was usually like a last-second play, but Chris called the Yahoo, and I was nervous as hell. I was thinking, oh my God, it's coming, it's coming. And so I hiked the ball, and I just stand there for a second like I always do, making sure no one gets by, and then I just start running down the field. And then I start looking back, and I see that Chris is going to throw it to me. He throws it to me, and I caught it. And I was so thrown off that I actually had caught this, and this worked out. I felt like I was in like a movie or something, like Varsity Blues, and I just froze, and everyone was yelling, run, run. I was probably within 10 yards of a touchdown. They were yelling, run, Jared, run. And then by the time I heard them and I came to and I realized real life is happening right now, my flag got snatched, and that was it. So yeah, I mean, those are all fun stories. I'm sure that you guys enjoyed them. I do know that we're pretty much, I had to cut this into 2 segments, and I forgot what time we stopped on the last one because of my dog aggressively drinking water, but I'm sure we're at the 15-minute mark. But I do want to freestyle in this episode. I've been having a really good time with those. You guys, more than one person is commenting that they've been enjoying them. So I figured, why not give the people what they want? You're my people. Sharing is caring. Just like I know you're going to share this video with all your friends, I'm going to share a freestyle with you. And I don't know what it's about yet. What it's about yet. I'm about to talk about some topics that ain't out yet. Oh shit, I'm going shopping at the outlets. You know what it is. You know what it's been. I don't know where I'm going, but I know that I've seen a lot of things that are growing on the scene. I got frogs in front of me, little fishies with debris, rocks and little pieces of algae, fake plants in my fish tank. I had real ones, but it made it real stank. And then I got Larry, and he's a lobster. If he was real human being, he'd be a mobster, probably like the Sopranos. Oh shit, we'll be back tomorrow. But as of right now, I think I gotta say bye, cause something is noisy in the background, maybe a plane. Can you hear it or am I going insane? I'm like, okay. And that was it, guys. That was a cool little freestyle. I do think that a plane was flying by, so you might hear that in the background, but I was just so captivated by myself in the moment that I could have been making it up. I could have been thinking I'm so fly right now that I'm hearing an actual plane in my head. But on that note, everybody, again, I really appreciate you joining me on these daily episodes. Thank you so much for liking it, for commenting. You guys posting it on Instagram. It's so cool whenever I see someone sharing this because I know that it was fun enough for you that you wanted someone else to enjoy it. And that's the goal here. So on that note, enjoy the rest of your day. It's like dinner time. So get some dinner going and then I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.